Hi. You know, right now is a time of the season where we are getting a super big abundance of zucchinis around. All of the farmers markets are having them out. The grocery stores are full of them. If you have your own gardens, we end up having, sometimes it just seems like they just flourish so much, and then all of a sudden you have this huge abundance of them. I was very fortunate that one of my friends brought me over or gave me some zucchinis, and the ones that I got are a little bit on the larger side, which I don't necessarily mind this because I use them a lot for making in my baking goods or I make a zucchini relish. But what do you do with all the zucchini once you have them? Well, first off, kind of a funny thing, I would have never really thought of it this way, but zucchini is actually a fruit. It's not a vegetable, but it's cooked like a vegetable. So a lot of the things, the way that I prepare mine is I will generally, when I'm cooking them in the kitchen or whatever, I will buy the smaller ones. The young, smaller zucchinis are a lot more tender, they're a lot more sweet, a little bit more flavor that way. Always when you before you use them, you want to wash them gently and dry them off with a paper towel, get all of the dirt off and stuff like that. So zucchini is also, it's 95% water, so they're super duper healthy for you and are really great for weight loss. So, but because it has so much water in it, when you go to cook them, a lot of times it's really good if you sprinkle them with a little salt, let them sit a little bit, and then that will draw that moisture out of there so they don't turn mushy on you when you're cooking them. And it just kind of helps give it a crisper end product when you're cooking it. So the other thing, on the zucchini, the skin on here is actually it's full of beta carotene. And so you don't want to go ahead and peel the skin like you do on some of your other produce that you might use. On the very end, now this is a couple days old, and so the flour has kind of dried up a little bit. But in some cooking, people use the flour part of the zucchini to cook. You don't want to cook it on a really high heat, because when you cook it on a high heat, it actually starts to get more mushy. And great ways to accent your zucchini when you're cooking it, whether you're using fresh basil or thyme. I love rosemary. I use a lot of fresh rosemary, a little bit of salt and pepper, maybe a little bit of Parmesan on there when you're cooking it. One of the things that we like to do a lot in our house is to take the small zucchinis and cut them up with a little bit of onion and some spinach and stuff like that, and saute that up, and then crack a couple eggs on top and let the eggs cook, and they are so delicious that way. Super great way to have your vegetables in the morning. Saute it with a little bit of vegetable oil, or I mean not vegetable, olive oil, and some salt and pepper. And then when you're sauteing it, make sure that you don't overcook it or over stir it. I mean, because it tends to get a lot more mushy that way. And then when you just flip it every once in a while, and not all the time, then they tend to get a really nice little golden brown color to them, which is really good. Be sure you serve it right after you're done cooking it. That way it prevents it from getting soggy and so forth. Another great way to do it is to grill it on the grill. I like to take mine, slice it lengthwise, baste it with a little bit of olive oil, sprinkle it with a little bit of salt and pepper, and then just put it on your grill when you're grilling your chicken or fish or burgers or whatever. Super duper good. The other thing that I really like to do is I have like a spiralizer, Zuler or whatever, and so I take that and I make zucchini noodles, and I use that for in place of a pasta. And so put my pasta sauce over it if you want to have some meatballs or something like that and put on it. So good for you. like I was saying before with the bigger zucchinis, is I like to use them in my baked goods. I will, when I get a lot of these, I take them and I grate them up really, really fine. And I go ahead and I freeze them so I can use them later for baked goods because it saves really well that way. I put it in, my kids love it. I call them healthy brownies, I put it in my brownies and it makes it very moist, even in cakes or muffins. And it just gives it a really nice little flavor, keeps them healthier. Also, like I said, just makes them nice and moist. One of the things that I grew up with may not be the healthiest thing, but I grew up with zucchini relish. And my mom and I used to make this a lot when I was a kid, and I still make it today. My mom still makes it today, and I know that the recipe has been passed around quite a bit, so it's kind of one of our faves. And you use it like a pickle relish. And whether it's on a burger or brats or however you use your relish, but one of my favorites. But anyway, so there are a few tips on how to use your overabundance of zucchini. Hope you all have a super awesome day.